it's like your purpose in life, you know. If you're expecting in order to find your purpose in life for it to be like a quick fix, something that you're just gonna like wake up in the morning, oh, I'm gonna do this and that's gonna solve my life. It's not gonna happen, man. You're given 80 to 100 years, whatever, to live, you know. You're given that time so that you can be patient, so that you can learn, because that's not a process that stops, okay? If you're looking for a quick fix in this lifetime, that's great. You're gonna find it to fix all kinds of different problems, but you're not gonna fix the problem of your unhappiness. I will guarantee you that. You will be unhappy until the moment that you die. And then in your next lifetime, because there is that next lifetime, there is that next incarnation, you're gonna have the same problem. You're still gonna have to learn patience, and you're still gonna have to learn to get away from the quick fix, because only when you get away from the quick fix are you actually gonna start developing patience. When you start developing patience, you're going to start to become more calm. And when you start to become more calm, you're going to start to go introverted. And when you go introverted, you're going to start realizing who and what you are. And you're going to start working with that. And you're going to start learning that your happiness and your sadness, your moods and everything else is just a direct result of how you think. Of whether you're patient or not, of how you are in tune with the natural elements around you. You know, if you're going to be popping pills your whole life, you're not going to get there. You're just not. Because these pills are designed to tune out those aspects of yourself that you're supposed to tune in with, so that you can deal with this problem. You know what I mean? It's like all of your greatest fears. You're not going to deal with your fears by running away from your fears, because your fears are just going to stay buried in the back of your head, and they're going to stay with you until the moment you die. And the only way you're going to get over those fears and learn from those fears is when you confront your fears. So that same principle applies to like most of life, most of anything. That's one thing that I've found is I've stopped looking at things in my life as problems. I start looking at them as challenges. And I started confronting my fears. Generally, if I feel a fear, that's when something triggers in my mind and I'm like, that means I got to go through with this, because there's something to be learned from this. And I go through with it, and I learned that my fear, it wasn't, what the outcome was nothing close to my fear, that my fear was completely all mental. It had no base in reality, you know? And I'd learn from it and I'd move on. And, you know, and then that fear would go away. And I'd be confronted with a different fear. And that different fear is still there to explore, but in order to get to that next level, you got to deal with the first level. And then you deal with that, you deal with the next level. And you deal with that, you deal with the next level. Because unfortunately, the spiritual process, or the process of becoming enlightened, or the process of becoming at one with yourself, is not an instantaneous thing. Like I had the Kundalini Awakening, it was an instantaneous thing, it was an event. But it's been 6 years, and I've been going through more hell, more crap than anybody could possibly imagine. I've been going through all of the mental diseases known to man, from schizophrenia to being bipolar to this, that, to insomnia. You know, I went to see a psychiatrist, and she was like, well, what can I do for you? I'm like, there's nothing you can do. You know, there's nothing anybody can do. The only thing you can do is doing something for yourself. That's the only thing you can do. You can't expect anybody to solve your problems for you, because the more you do that, the more you're putting that inherent power, your willpower, into somebody else's hands, and they're going to muck it up. They're going to screw it up. They're going to give you a short-term answer that will give you short-term happiness, and it's going to make you in the long term even more miserable. So why do it? That's what I say. Why do that? If you know all these things, and you know that the road to becoming enlightened, or the road to becoming happy, because realistically, enlightenment and happiness kind of go hand in hand. The more enlightened you are, the happier you are. The happier you are, the more enlightened you are, you know? So everybody, in a sense, is not really looking for money. They're not looking for temporary happiness. They're, in a sense, looking for enlightenment. Because enlightenment is the only thing that's going to give you liberation from this material world, which will, in a sense, give you an understanding of who you really are. And it's going to, in the long run, it's going to be your happiest outcome for this lifetime. So I don't know why so many people are focusing on, you know, they got $1 million and they're focusing on making the next million and the next million and the next million. And then what? You can't even spend all that money in one lifetime. Why not take your $1 million, have fun with it? Why not share it with people, share it with others, create an aura of happiness about yourself, that everybody who's going to come into that aura is going to experience that happiness, is going to experience that love, is going to experience that light. And what's going to happen with that is that it's like an investment. Your million is all of a sudden going to be turned into 3 million. And it's not going to happen by some business venture. No, you know what? The universe is going to say, all right, buddy, you did a good job. I like you. You're doing a good job. You know what? I'm going to reward you. I'm going to give you that girl you always wanted. I'm going to give you that love you always wanted. I'm going to give you that kid you always wanted, you know? But unless you do that, unless you take that step of faith, that leap of faith and say, you know what, fuck it. I'm going to go in, I'm just going to, you know, I'm going to give it my all. Unless you do that, you ain't going to get nowhere. If every day you're going to stay in your room locked up, watching movies, thinking about this, thinking about that, instead of going out there into the unknown and experiencing, well, I don't know what it is because it's unknown, then, buddy, you're gonna be miserable for the rest of your life. And you're better off starting that process now instead of thinking about this and having realization when you're 60 and being like, oh fuck, I wasted all this time. I could have been doing this all this time. Oh shit. Because you know what? It's a tough road, man. It's a tough fucking road. You gotta confront all of your fears. And that is the scariest process on the planet. There's nothing scarier than confronting your fears, okay? There's nothing scarier than being in the darkness with yourself. That is the scariest shit on the planet. Death is not as scary. Death is laughable in terms of how scary that is, you know?